Episode 8. As the afternoon progressed and the time for the summit approached, the imposing Orion Manor began to fill with important figures. Located in one of the few areas of Olympus City that retained its former splendor, the mansion stood majestic, a silent reminder of a bygone era. Amidst the whispered conversations of the arriving subordinates from the various guilds, a young recruit's comment was overheard by his mentor: "This is the Orion Manor." Before the resplendence, they owned a portion of the city. Afterward, they set out to help and created the Dawn Guild. With that fortune, it didn't take much effort for them to become the best guild in the city. The murmur spread among the newcomers, an echo of the power and influence that the hosts still held in the devastated metropolis. Tension mounted as the most influential guild leaders in Olympus City congregated at the Orion Manor. The table was set for discussion, but Seraphina had other plans in mind. The solemnity of the Orion Manor was interrupted by the imposing arrival of the Lightning Guild. At its head, Balthazar, nicknamed the God of Thunder, advanced with an enigmatic smile. Small electrical sparks crackled and danced over his body, a silent testament to the magnitude of his power. His walk exuded a confidence bordering on arrogance, a tacit display of the magnificence of his ability. The minor guilds joined the summit. Following the imposing figures of the Lightning and Lotus Flower, the leaders of the minor guilds began to fill the vast hall of the Orion Manor. The air was charged with the expectation of an event crucial to the future of Olympus City. Guild by guild, they made their presence known. Tornado, whose members moved with almost invisible speed; Avalanche, with their robust figures and an aura of brute force; Blue Wolf, whose members observed the surroundings with the cunning and discipline of predators; and finally the Aurora, whose cardinals entered with a mix of seriousness and a quiet hope. The meeting room of the Orion Manor was now complete. With all guilds represented, the discussion about the Moon faction was about to begin. At the front of the Great Hall, an imposing figure radiating serene calm emerged on the platform. It was Augusto Orion, head of the illustrious Orion family and leader of the Dawn Guild. His presence dominated the space as he began his presentation. "Friends, welcome all," Augusto began, his voice clear and resonant. "As you know, we have gathered here to address the increase in the Moon faction's activities and to share with you, before the general public, the findings from the recent attack on the Moon shipment." Instantly, a giant screen descended, ready for the transmission. The video projected showed a meticulously prepared ambush on the outskirts of the city, in a desert-forgotten area dotted with rubble from what was once part of the metropolis. 2 trucks, disguised as food supply transport, were the targets. The quick and fleeting attacks of the Master of the Dawn, known for his lethal precision, unfolded on the screen. The sequence culminated with a powerful attack already known as the Vortex of Light, a blinding spiral of energy intended to annihilate the targets. However, the Moon faction members did not fall easily. Among them, a high-ranking executive named Johann the Dagger demonstrated astonishing agility. With fluid movements, he cut through the attacks and narrowly dodged the devastating Vortex of Light. His lackeys, however, were not so lucky, being struck by the Dawn's power. In the heat of anger, Johann lunged into the attack, his sharp blades reinforced with a blue aura that amplified their range, severely wounding several level B and A adapters of the Dawn. Just as he was about to reach the big fish of the attack, an incredible wall of fire formed out of nowhere, separating them from the aggressor. The camera focused on the silhouette of the Lady of Fire, Sophia, who had arrived on the battlefield. With a sardonic smile, she informed the executive that he had no business there other than to start answering her questions. Johann, in response, activated his daggers and launched a barrage of small air-cutting blades directly at Sophia. But with a simple movement of her hand, she calcined the attack, reducing the blades to ash. "Fool!" Sophia retorted, her voice resounding with disdain. "I gave you a chance to save yourself, but this is as far as you go." Levitation slightly and igniting her aura around her body, her eyes flashed with fire. "Final flare!" she shouted. An incandescent circle began to form beneath the executive, and 2 lines of flames crossed within it. As they converged, an explosion of flames buzzed the air, and a tube of fire completely calcined the executive, who had no means of escape. The video ended abruptly, leaving the attendees in silence, shocked by the brutality and power witnessed. As the final image of the incinerated executive faded from the screen, a murmur of astonishment ran through the room. Caesar, still standing next to his companions from the Aurora, frowned. "I would have finished off those idiots faster," he grumbled in a low voice, his tone reflecting his usual impatience and confidence in his own power. Bruno, who had been observing Caesar's reaction, clapped him on the shoulder. "Your aura amount is unmatched, Caesar," he acknowledged with his usual energy. "But an attack of that scale would have left you unconscious before you launched it." His eyes shone with respect. "Sophia is the best of the fire-type adapters. She's an S rank for a reason." The last murmurs in the room stopped completely, and all eyes turned back to the screen expectant. The next video was about to begin. The video on the giant screen at the Orion Manor resumed, showing members of the Dawn Guild opening the rear doors of one of the intercepted trucks. Inside, a large amount of money was revealed, about 50 million Valthios, the kingdom's currency, along with several objects of considerable value. Augusto Orion entered the truck with a look of satisfaction. "We have dealt a direct blow to the Moon faction's economy," he declared firmly. "Here are several pieces that were stolen from the museum and others from the most influential homes in Olympus City. They were surely going to be sold on the black market." While Augusto spoke, one of the members of the attack group, the one checking the other truck, exclaimed, "Master, you need to see this." The shout caught everyone's attention, and they rushed to see the source of his astonishment. Entering the second truck, no one could imagine what they would find. Inside, a small chest caught everyone's attention. It was also guarded by an intricate network of laser beams surrounding it, glowing with a dangerous light. At that moment, Sophia, who appeared in the video, stepped forward with a confident smile. "I'll take care of the hassle," she said, preparing her hands. But Augusto stopped her with a gesture. "Don't. You'd incinerate the chest as well with your powers. This is more a job for someone like me." As he spoke these words and declared his technique, stellar glow, a concentrated burst of luminous energy directly from the Orion constellation. Upon reciting the spell, the air around him illuminated, and a column of pure white light descended from the sky, materializing into a brilliant sphere. Launching the sphere, it impacted the target, releasing an explosion of light that temporarily blinded enemies and purified the shadows around it, creating a safe path to remove the chest from its position. Once they obtained it, they exited the truck to examine the contents. Before opening it, they checked once more for any other objects in the truck, surprised that the small chest was the only content of such a large transport. They proceeded to open it and found a strange-looking pistol. It did not have a conventional ammunition magazine, only a slot, but there was nothing to reload it with. Sophia, her face in the video revealing confusion, wondered aloud, "But what is the meaning of this weapon? Was all this just for this?" The intrigue in the room was palpable. The video ended, leaving everyone with the same unanswered question. The giant screen slowly rose, and Augusto Orion resumed speaking, his expression now graver. "As you can see, this is the complete video of what happened a few days ago. The media was previously only informed about the money and the valuables." His gaze swept the room. "Meanwhile, we continue investigations into the weapon found, but everything indicates that the Moon faction is producing new technology, although we are not clear on its purpose." Baltazar, the leader of the Lightning Guild, with a glint of interest in his eyes, inquired, "Where is the weapon currently? It looks like an interesting toy." Augusto replied seriously, "It is currently in the police investigation area, but the Dawn is also investigating on its own." Adrian, leader of the Aurora, intervened, his concern evident. "Is it secure? We don't know when the Moon faction will seek to recover it." Augusto, directing his response specifically to Adrian, assured, "It is under joint surveillance by the police and our guild, the Dawn 24/7, with a double team of Class A adapters, plus a police security group." Furthermore, Augusto underscored a crucial point. The growing wave of robberies and insecurity by the Moon faction has likely been to fund the development of this new technology. The implication was clear. The Moon faction was not only a criminal threat but a force with technological ambitions that could change the balance of power in Olympus City. The tension in the Orion Manor was palpable, with the revelation of the weapon and the ambitions of the Moon faction. With the Guild Summit at the Orion Manor in full swing, Seraphina put her audacious and multifaceted plan into motion, executing a coordinated attack designed to strike on multiple fronts and maximize chaos. Seraphina personally led her group, directing a lightning assault toward the Olympus City Police headquarters. Her objective was clear: to recover the mysterious weapon that was intercepted, regardless of the cost. She was counting on the Winds faction information about the surveillance at the base being accurate. Simultaneously, Kael and his group mobilized with contained fury toward the Orion Manor, the headquarters of the Dawn Guild and the epicenter of the guild meeting. Their mission was simple: to hold everyone present, the leaders and their forces, so they could not interfere with Seraphina's operation at the police base. Kael intended to make the Moon faction feel respected, or feared, in the most brutal way possible. The key to this plan lay in prior infiltration. Days before, Seraphina had managed to introduce Moon faction executives, both within the Dawn Guild's defenses and the police's own security forces. These activated sleeper agents would now be crucial in sowing confusion, disabling key defenses, and opening the way for the main attacks. The Moon faction was about to unleash an attack to generate chaos and terror in Olympus City, demonstrating that their power and ambition went beyond what the guilds imagined.